Hello, room 26. It's Mr. Steinbeck again. I wanted to make at least one more video for you guys before you guys went on summer break and are officially fifth graders. So congratulations to those who made it, and hopefully I'll be able to see you soon. Anyway, so I'm not going to show you an experiment, but I will talk about some advanced topics for those who want to be the scientists that I talk to, and the rest of you. This would also help you in preparing for 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and even high school. But it's a topic that I know is important in Fresno, and so I want to make sure you guys understand it a little bit more. So, who has heard of water? Is there another name for water? Can we call it H2O? Yes, actually, water is something that we call water is H2O. Alright? And what we do, let me get that a little clearer. That's an arrow. Let me make it a little better. So another word for water is H2O. How many of you have heard of that? Well, what we can look at is we see the letters H, and then we see a number 2 next to it. What that means is H, and there's something called the periodic table that you'll learn about. And H stands for hydrogen. And that little 2 means there's 2 hydrogen atoms. And then the O stands for oxygen. Since there's no numbers next to it, we know it's 1. There is 1 oxygen atom. And again, you'll get into that in middle school and high school. But a funny way to remember H2O is like Mickey Mouse. Have you ever gone to Disneyland and gotten the Mickey Mouse ears? You have the little hats and then the little 2 ears on it. Well, what it looks like is you have 3 circles connected together. And so you have 2 hydrogens, H2, and then 1 oxygen. And that is what a water molecule looks like. When you look at the water, let's say in a glass or in a cup, that is about 1,000 of these things, so about 1,000 of these stuck together. And so now I'm going to talk about smog in the air. As we talked about when Dawn and the physics came, there is something called atmospheric pressure. Well, we're going to talk about the air around us. Remember the nitrogen we poured in the ice cream and it evaporated and went into the air? Because the air is 79% nitrogen. And so that's something a little fun we can play with. I don't have it with me right now, so I can't show you. But when something harmful goes into the air, so when you turn on your car and the stuff comes out of the car, you know, in the back, how you see it looks like a steam or smoke coming out of the back of the car in the morning, or just other things that pollute the air, and you've heard the word pollution. So what happens is, let me draw a picture of, here is us on the ground. So here is us on the ground. Now if we go up, our stuff goes up into the sky. And there's a spot in the sky called the ozone. So let's write that down. Ozone. And so we're standing there, we pollute, and our stuff goes up into the ozone. And what happens is we have molecules, but they're not water molecules. They're air molecules. Like the nitrogen and the oxygen, and the chemical formula is a little advanced. I don't want to show you guys. I don't want to scare you. But so what happens is when those molecules go up into the air, they break apart. So remember our little atom from earlier? This little 2 oxygen, or 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So what happens is it breaks apart. So now the 2 hydrogens stay together, but the oxygen splits off of it. As you can see right here, the hydrogens stay together, H for hydrogen, and the O for oxygen, they separate and they create something new. And then as it keeps going up and going up, then they reattach and then come back down. But what happens is when pollution gets into the air, it floats up and then it breaks apart. So pretend this water is an air molecule. It goes up and it breaks apart. And then when it tries to come back together and become this again, what actually happens is it tries to connect with it and it can't recreate it. So it just floats there and all this stuff is floating in the air all the way up above us. And what happens when all that happens is it starts to tear a hole in the ozone. And so we have our ozone, and let me draw another little squiggly line. So this squiggly line is our ozone. And what happens is when we have the sun's rays coming in, the bad rays, so you can see the good, they hit and then they bounce off. The good rays go all the way to the earth and the bad rays go back to space. But what happens is when those molecules break apart and can't get back together, it tears a huge hole in the ozone. And so now all that bad light from the sun can now get in, and look at our little people. They're getting hit by bad rays. So we need to protect our environment and try to clean up whenever we can. So if you see a piece of trash on the ground, go ahead and pick it up, be nice. Characters when somebody's not watching, and help us save the earth. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a nice long one. And I'm going to miss you guys, and I hope you guys do well in 5th grade. Congratulations. Mr. Steinmack, out.